Many people feel guilty when they rest, even when they are tired, even when nothing urgent is waiting. And this guilt does not come from rest itself, but from something deeper called internalized productivity, which means the idea that your value as a person is tied to how much you produce, achieve, or stay busy. An idea that slowly enters our minds through school systems that reward performance over well-being, workplaces that praise overwork, social media that glorifies hustle, and cultural messages that equate rest with laziness. So, over time, the brain learns a quiet rule that says if you are not doing something useful, you are doing something wrong. And psychology shows that the human brain is very good at turning repeated external pressure into an internal voice, which is why even when no one is watching, no one is demanding, and no one is judging, you still feel uneasy when you stop, because the pressure has moved inside you and now speaks as guilt. And research in behavioral science explains that this happens because productivity becomes linked to self-worth. So rest does not feel neutral anymore. It feels like a threat to your identity, as if stopping means you are failing at being a valuable person. And this is why many people try to make rest productive by scrolling for useful content, planning future tasks, or feeling anxious about what comes next. Because true rest creates silence, and silence gives space for thoughts and emotions that busyness keeps hidden, which is uncomfortable for a nervous system that has learned safety through constant action. And neuroscience tells us that the brain under chronic pressure stays in a state of alert, where slowing down can actually feel unsafe at first, not because rest is harmful, but because the body has adapted to stress as normal. So when you finally pause, the mind interprets it as danger instead of recovery. And this is made worse by modern systems that benefit from tired people, because exhausted individuals are less likely to question expectations, challenge unfair demands, or reflect deeply on what they truly want. And historically, this pattern is not new, as industrial and capitalist structures trained societies to measure human worth through output, efficiency, and time use. Slowly replacing older ideas where rest was seen as natural and necessary, and psychology clearly shows that rest is not laziness but a biological requirement, because the brain needs downtime to process information, regulate emotions, strengthen memory, and repair the nervous system, which is why chronic guilt around rest is linked to burnout, anxiety, and depression, not because people are weak, but because they are trying to function without the recovery their bodies are designed to need. And the truth is that humans were never meant to operate like machines, yet many of us judge ourselves as if we should, forgetting that even machines overheat without maintenance. And when you feel guilty for resting, it does not mean you are irresponsible. It means you were taught to believe that existing without producing is not enough. But this belief is learned, not natural, and anything learned can slowly be unlearned, starting by understanding that rest is not something you earn after exhaustion, but something you need to prevent it, and that your worth does not disappear when you stop moving, because you were valuable before you achieved anything, and you remain valuable even when you do nothing at all. And when you begin to rest without apologizing, without justifying, and without turning it into another task, you are not falling behind. You are reconnecting with a version of yourself that existed before productivity became your identity, a version that does not need to prove its right to exist. And over time, as research shows, allowing real rest actually improves creativity, focus, emotional balance, and long-term performance, not because rest makes you better at working, but because it makes you more human. And perhaps the most important truth is this:
The guilt you feel when you rest is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are stepping outside a system that taught you to confuse exhaustion with purpose. And every time you choose rest anyway, you quietly remind yourself that your life is more than what you produce, and that you are allowed to exist, breathe, and be, without earning it.